What purpose the gentleman from Texas seek recognition? This gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my remarks. Mr. Chairman, I rise in opposition to this amendment, mainly because I don't think it's a good move to even have the SEC internationalized to begin with, and to further internationalize it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. For one thing, the cracking down more on foreign oil companies that are doing business in Sudan won't necessarily prohibit the benefits that may flow to the American oil companies if there is a changing government. And we shouldn't ignore that. We go to war over oil. We went to war over oil in the Persian Gulf. We certainly had oil as an influence to send in many dollars and much equipment down into Colombia. But just let me read from the bill. It said the Secretary of State will report back on a description of the sources and the current status of Sudan's financing and construction of infrastructure and pipelines for oil exploitation, the effects of such financing and construction of the inhabitants in the region. It goes on, which in a way does a lot of research and benefit for our oil companies that may benefit. So I think oil is involved, but in quite a different way than I think we should be involved in dealing with the foreign oil companies today. So I'm not going to support this amendment. But I would like to take another moment to mention something which is considered an esoteric point, but I consider very important. And that has to do with the authority to do these kind of things that we're doing today, no matter how well intended. The committee report explains the authority and the supporters of the bill says the authority comes from Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18. And they look to the right place. Article 1, Section 8 gives us our 18 enumerated powers that we're permitted to do. But the 18th, the Clause 18 is the necessary and proper clause to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers. The foregoing powers were those 18 issued. But to use this in a generalized sense means there's no Constitution left. That means any power you want, you can do whatever you want. That was specifically designed to use the past laws to enforce those 18 enumerated powers. So this bill, in spite of all the good intentions that you hope it will do, really undermines the whole concept of the doctrine of enumerated powers. And we shouldn't take that lightly, although generally this is not much of interest to so many people because we do so much and we have such great hopes that it will always do so much good. But from just observing history, recent history, last 20, 30, 40 years since World War II, so often when we get involved and we send money to help the good guys, it's not infrequent. The good things that we send and the goods and services and weapons end up in the hands of the opposition and the enemy. So that's always a possibility once again. Where these commodities and services go and the things that we send and the money may well end up literally being used against the people we are trying to help. The other thing that we tend to ignore here is we concentrate on the good things that we're going to accomplish. Miraculously, we're going to solve this problem by putting $10 million in today and $100 million in the next 5 years, and everything is going to be solved. We don't think about it failing, because that would be a negative. You don't want to think about that. We don't think about the Constitution, but we don't think about who pays. Somebody always has to pay. In this token, who cares about $10 million? You take $10 million out of the economy, there's somebody who suffered because you took $10 million out of the economy. Somebody didn't get a house, or somebody lost a job. But they're not identifiable. They don't have a lobbyist. They're lost, but they are penalized. There's always a cost. And even if you assume that we have a surplus and the money's already in the budget, you still should have concern, because you're making a choice. You're saying, we're going to take this money and take the risk of sending over there. Maybe it will help. Maybe you're right. Maybe it won't do quite as much good as we think. But you make a trade-off. You say today that you will send this money with the hope that it will do good at the expense of a domestic program. Do you think every poor person in this country has been taken care of in medical care needs or housing? So you do make choices continuously, but we forget about that. We never really think about the choices that we made, and there's always a trade-off. And we generally always forget about finding the point in the Constitution that gives us authority. And in this case, this is the wrong authority, and it is not a proper interpretation of the Constitution as described in the committee report.